Continuing with the halachos of Havdalah, we're going to wrap up Havdalah today or tomorrow, and then we're going to move on to discuss some of the laws of slichos, Rosh Hashanah, and Kippur, Sukkot that are coming soon. So the Shulchan Aruch in Sif Beis, in Siman Rish Tetzadeh, says that there's a mitzvah to light on a torch. It's not enough to do a small candle, but rather it should be a torch. Why is that? Because the torch provides a lot of light. And the Shulchan Aruch says that if one does not happen to have a torch handy in their house, so what they should do is they should light a special candle, aside from them back then, before they had electricity obviously, so they would have candles at their house. So at the very least, one should have a special candle for Havdalah, meaning not the one that he just uses to light his house. Now the Ramah tells us that if one wants to fulfill his this requirement of having a torch, it's enough to simply put two wicks together, and this is a fulfillment of a torch. And this is what very often we'll do. If a person doesn't have a Havdalah candle, they'll take two candles and they'll put it together. Now, the Mishra points out that if it's simply two wicks touching each other right next to each other, that's just considered one thick wick. There should be, and that's why the Havdalah candles should make, especially for this, there's a little bit of space between the two candles, and they each provide their own light, and they kind of join together in one bigger flame, and that is the fulfillment of a avukah. Now, the Sif Gimel, the Shulchan Aruch tells us that the minhag is to look at one's fingernails and one's palm when during Havdalah. Why is this? So we're going to see later that Havdalah should only be made when one derives benefit from it. Now, technically, one doesn't have to derive benefit. What it means is one has to be close enough to derive benefit. And as long as he was close enough that he would technically be able to, the Gemara describes, differentiate between two different types of coins. So that's good enough. Now we don't have these coins, so we differentiate between the fingernail and the skin. So as long as one is standing close enough to do that, he meets the strict requirement. He technically doesn't need to do this. However, there are other reasons why this is done. It's considered a bracha, that the fingernail is always growing, so it's a siman of bracha, it's a sign of bracha. So that's why the custom became that we use the candle to differentiate between the fingernail and the skin. There are actually different customs. Is it supposed to be done bent over, or is it supposed to be just straight like this? So that's why some people have the custom to do both, like as is often the case when we're not sure which way to do. We try to accommodate both opinions. Okay, as we just mentioned, that a person should be standing close enough that he would technically be able to benefit from the flame, and that's why if somebody's standing far away in a small candle, he wouldn't fulfill his mitzvah. Now, as we mentioned, a person is not required to go far away, but if this person's not required to search far for a Havdalah candle, but if he's in the room, he should certainly go up close, or as very often the case, if it's a large group, they'll pass around the Havdalah candle to everyone, again, not because he's required to look at it, but rather because in order to fulfill the mitzvah, he has to be standing close enough that he would be able to derive benefit from the candle.